Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let us from Group 1 present the result of our group discussion, which will be read by Yogi.
1. Structural approach. The structural approach is a technique wherein the learner masters the pattern of sentence. Structures are the different arrangement of words in one accepted style or the other. It includes various modes in which clauses, phrases, or words might be used. It is based on the assumption that language can be best learned through a scientific selection and grading of the structures of patterns of sentences and vocabulary. Professor F. G. French has entitled the following principles underlying the structural approach. First, importance of framing language habits. Second, importance of speech. The structural approach is based on the principle of effective use of speech. Third, importance pupils activity. Fourth, the principles of oral work. Oral work is the basis and all the rest are built up from it. Fifth, each language has its own grammar. Instead of teaching grammar of the target language and its structures are to be taught. Sixth, creation of different types of meaningful situation by dramatization, facial expression, action, etc. is stressed upon. Seventh, one item of language is taught at one time. Eighth, mastery of structure is emphasized. 2. Communicative approach. This approach is an outgrowth of the anthropological linguists in the United States and Freudian linguists in Britain, all of whom view language as a meaning-based system for communication, now serving as an umbrella term for a number of design and procedures. The communicative approach includes task-based language teaching and project work, content-based and immersion instruction, and cooperative learning, among other instructional frameworks. Some of the silent features and manifestations of the communication approach are: first, it is assumed that the goal of language teaching is the learner's ability to communicate in the target language. Second, it is assumed that the content of a language course will include semantic notions and social functions and that they are as important as linguistic structures. Third, in some cases, the content is academic or job-related material which becomes the course focus with language learning as a simultaneous concern. Fourth, students regularly work in groups or pairs to transfer and negotiate meaning in situations in which one person has information that the others lack. Fifth, students often engage in role play or dramatization to adjust their use of the target language to different social contexts. Sixth, classroom materials and activities often consist of authentic tasks and projects presented and practiced using segments of pre-existing, meaningful discourse, not materials primarily constructed for pedagogical purposes. Seventh, skills are integrated from the beginning. A given activity might involve reading, speaking, listening, and also writing. This assumes the learners are educated in literature. Eighth, the teacher's role is primarily to facilitate communication and secondarily to correct errors. Ninth, the teacher should be able to use the target language fluently and appropriately. To sum up, we can see that certain features of several of the pre-20
That Next will be continued by Aziza.
3. Situational approach or oral approach. In Britain, the same historical pressure that prompted the development of the audiolingual approach gave rise to the oral or situational approach. It arose as a reaction to the reading approach and it placed of emphasis on listening and speaking skill. This approach was dominant in Britain during the late 1940, 1950, and 1960. It drew on the reform movement and the direct approach, but added features from first-time linguistics and the emerging professional field of language pedagogy. It also drawn on the experience that Britain's language educator had acquired in oral approach to foreign language teaching. Also influenced by but less dogmatic than its American counterpart. The oral situational approach advocates organizing structure around situation that provided the learner with maximum opportunity to practice the target language. However, practice often consistent on little more than pattern practice, correct repetition or reading to text and memorization of dialogue. Features of the oral situational approach include 1. The spoken language is primary. 2. All language material is practiced oral before being presented in writing form. Reading and writing are taught only after an oral base in lexical and grammatical form has been established. 3. Only the target language should be used in the classroom. 4. Efforts are made to ensure that the most general and useful lexical items are presented. 4. Grammatical structures are graded from simple to complex. 6. New items, lexical and grammatical, are introduced and practiced situational.
The next is about the integrated approach, which I will explain myself. Multi-skill or integrated approach. The integrated approach to teaching technology combines content area instruction with computer skill instruction. Rather than learning computer skill in their computer class, the students are given projects which involve technology in all of their classes. One reason this approach is so effective is because students learn to apply their technological skill in a variety of settings. A student who can transfer a skill from one class to another will probably be able to retain that skill and use it in the future. Using the integrated approach also increases the amount of time that students actually spend using technology. And the last one will be explained by Aziza.
Elliptical approach. Elliptic approach, Larsen, Freeman, and Mello use the term elliptic approach to language teaching. It is mixed process to structural communicative approach. If the topics belong to structure, teacher has to follow structural approach. If the topics belong to speaking activity, he has to follow communicative approach. When the teacher grammar topics, he can follow inductive or deductive, depend on age and rural background of the student. When he does the topics priors or idioms, he can use bilingual if students belong to rural backgrounds. If it is reading topic, he can use reading and audio language method. So it is combination of traditional modern approach. It's over better opportunity to learn language skill. It gives good result without pressure on learner. Principle: Ali Kuli and Ali present principle of elective method. 1. It gives a chance to teacher to select different teaching technique in each period to reach aim to the lesson. 2. It breaks monotony in one hand and ensure better understanding on the other hand. 3. Different kind of audio, visual, and teaching aid lead to better understanding. 4. It saves a lot of time in presenting a language activity. Advantage: 1. Learner becomes attentive and respond. 2. It offers multiple opportunities to students to develop their own skill. 3. It enhances active participation. 4. It makes learning lively and enjoyable. 5. It breaks monotony. 6. It promotes class control and students have interest in class, and it allows class discussion. This finding confirms cross-hand input hypothesis, which assure that the best method of second language teaching and learning supplied by comprehensive input and not forcing in production. Drawback: though it has best approach in teaching English, it has also disadvantage. 1. Brown said that practical electricities does not meet the criterion of efficiency. Theoretical eclecticism is suspicious on logical theoretical ground. 2. It is time consuming. It may not helpful to particular regional medium of language. 3. It is not useful to slow learner. 4. If the teacher does not have command over all method and approach, students confused and demotivated.
Okay, that's the result of the discussion from our groups. If anyone to respond or give a question, please continue at the group or Zoom meeting. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.